As a personal story, it's not an unusual one, and I think it contextualizes what we're talking about. Distracted, distracted at school, boredom, poor focus, confusion. You tend to get lots of words thrown at you. Lazy-headed was a pretty common one I got thrown at me. Stupid, dull, distracted, probably all true, but not too helpful when you're trying to find your way in the world. And many other judgments people will sort of throw at you as you really try and struggle to come through. I was lucky though. My parents believed in me, and that led to me believing in myself, which I think is an important part of it. In spite of the knockbacks, but I struggled then, and I still struggle with kind of concentration, processing information, short-term memory, slow reading, etc. I'm generally jumble-headed and overwhelmed, as anyone who knows me will tell you. And it's just understanding instructions, or no organized storage system when the instructions did come in, and typical, possibly laughable things is like anyone telling me any instructions, they know they're not taking it in or storing it once it's gone in. I'm a nightmare to tell driving instructions to, or any directions. My children laughed at me for a long time reading board game instructions and having no idea at the end of it what I just read and what we're supposed to be doing. So lazy-headedness is still thrown around at me, and sometimes deservedly, I'm sure. I wasn't statemented or sort of identified early on as someone who was struggling, although it was pretty profound, and I really did find it difficult. I think one of the problems, as I've looked more into it, one of the problems of people like me, again, massively generalizing, but is sometimes you take in too much information and you don't know where it is, you don't know where you've stored it. You've got the lens open, you're seeing everything at the same time, you're struggling to process it, but you're taking a lot of information in. It is a difficulty, but it's also, you just have to organize, and you have to learn how to process and how to organize yourself differently. So I think the tools I had to develop were things like pattern recognition, metaphorical thinking. I didn't know this, but it's what you do. Simplification, you bring clarity. Everything I'm probably not doing with this talk now, but you're supposed to be bringing clarity to things. The stress you suffer of understanding, where are we now, where are we going, where are we headed, what's occurring. I needed to know the clear steps. And you try to find things which look like something else. What is this like? What am I looking at? Is this a bit like something else? Later in my career in the media world, we'll be looking at things like launching YouTube channels, and people were struggling with the brave new world. And I said, this looks very much to me like a magazine business model, with the compelling content and the finance on one side and the content here and audience development. So by oversimplifying things so that I could understand them, people found me useful to have around, and I brought clarity apparently, and they would call me into meetings to make things clearer. So I became to be useful to have around. So a coping mechanism became a talent, and I think that's the heart of what I want to really quickly talk about. I mean, it's helped me grow numerous businesses. I've been involved in the launch of, as you've probably seen in the bio, of many businesses in the creative sector. We've helped them develop, we've helped them flourish. I've more latterly in my career gone on to be producing films and TV series, and I've been involved in a great many talented people, but I've added a dimension, I feel, in the way I approach things and some clarity I can bring in the way I think. So I'm not saying this to talk about myself, but I think it's important to just illustrate the fact that sometimes what can be something that holds you back, unleashed in the right way, can be something which is very useful in going forward. It appears there's a fork in the road, which is an important thing for us to focus on in terms of what we're doing. It's again never that clear cut, but they're unrecognized and under-encouraged and underdeveloped. There's kind of failure, disadvantage, mental health repercussions, and tragedy and terrible waste. I think with the right support, the right encouragement, the right education, the right open-mindedness by us as an industry, there's high achievement, satisfaction, fulfillment, and a benefit to all of us, of these people working alongside us. Their strengths is hyper-focus, there's great cognitive control, creativity, empathy, verbal skills, innovative thinking. There's a lot of the things which have held you back on one side. The other side of the coin, are talents, if they're challenged in the right way, can become very useful, not just the individual, but to us in industry, in our creative industry and in society. Many sort of countless talented people seem to fly, not just in spite of the difference, but because of it. So in terms of what are we doing about it, what are we trying to do? I suppose we're focusing on the sector. We've been involved, as you've seen earlier, in many business startups and development, and some of those are quite substantial businesses now employing many hundreds of people, and I'm proud to have been involved in all that. We're focusing on that sector. We're trying to carry the message out, as David Joseph and others are trying to do, carry the message into it. We need these people, we welcome them, and we need them. And also we're going to try and use the tools and connections at our disposal to educate, entertain, and do all the other things under the banner of this company. Why are we doing it? We want to listen, we want to understand, but we want to entertain, we want to educate, inform, squash stigmas, celebrate the difference, raise awareness. So it's an important area. It's an important area to me. It's an important area to the company, and it's just a formal focus now to try and carry this out, particularly to the creative sector. Again, it's the area we know best. We're already up and running in that area, so we'll be carrying the message out, and you'll be hearing more of that brand around the place, I really hope, as we go forward. I just want to say, equality is, to my mind and to all of us, is a fundamental principle. It's a right. And diversity also is respecting and valuing the differences, which is very much the message we want to carry out. Not only to help, but also we'll be all the better for it. And just, let's show that our industry can be enhanced and enriched, not in spite of our differences, but because of them.